Good evening, everyone. We will now begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for blessings and protection received while participating in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer, please stand. Taka ni kanzumarimasu, kamurogi kamuro tomochite, sumemi oya kamu izanagi no mikoto, tsukushi no gimu kano tachi hana no odo no awagi hara ni misogi harai tamo utoki ni narimaseru. Araido no kami tachi moro moro no magagoto tsumi kegare o arai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio Amatsu kami kunitsu kami ya o yorozu no kami tachi tomoni Ame no fuchi koma no mimi furitatete kikoshi meseto kashiko mimu maosu. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami, mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami, mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Kannagara tamachi haemase. Kannagara tamachi haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truths given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive. bless you. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teachings. I have been blessed. How happy I am to have been saved by God's healing light when I was ill and in danger of losing my life. I now receive his abundant blessings. How grateful I am to be healed of the illness that clouded my mind and spirit. I cannot serve God enough to express my gratitude. Nothing is as precious as life itself. Now, in time, we can serve God in his divine plan for the world. Salvation on a spiritual level alone, without any regard for the material side, cannot be true salvation. We can have real peace of mind only when we believe solutions to physical problems are possible. Some fears, such as that of starvation, can be eased if we believe someone is going to bring us food. We can have peace of mind about other problems, such as disease or poverty, where we trust that they can be solved through faith in God. In this way, solutions on both the physical and spiritual levels can bring us to a state of true salvation. The most important goal of this dual approach should be to eliminate disease and make people healthy. Material blessings are meaningless if you are suffering from illness. Thus, the first condition for the salvation of humanity must be to help everyone achieve true health. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all very much for attending this evening service where we had the opportunity to pray for our ancestors, for our family and friends, and for all those who are going through hard time and purification all over the world. And today, Friday, we do our study of Meishu-sama's teachings. So I need another 5 minutes of your time so that we can do this study. Today's study will be a teaching that's called Health in Accord with the Law of Nature. Health in accord with the law of nature, with the law of God. As we know, everything in the universe is born and grows, changes, unites with, and everything separates from other things. Everything prospers or declines in accord with the law of nature. Through this process, the world continually changes and advances. And we all know that God governs the universe and is the expression of truth. This is God, is truth. The great nature itself is the manifestation of God's will. A human being breathes, we breathe in the great nature and is grown and cultivated by the power of nature. Life and death both follow the law of nature too. They both follow God's will. The human being who lives and functions by following the law of nature prospers. So therefore, human beings should look up to the great nature and try to learn from it. We must learn from the laws of nature, from nature. To live by following the law of nature, by following God's wish. Yeah? What does God want from me? And that is the meaning of one word one phrase that you know from our that says Kanagara. The word Kanagara has a very powerful and extremely high spiritual vibration. Kanagara. Kanagara tamachi haemase. We do that when we do the Amatsu-Norito prayer. So we can apply this principle uh, of following God's will to our health, because human beings are born to this earth so that they can serve in God's plan for the world. So each person has been given certain unique qualities and capabilities in order to fulfill a specific mission assigned by God. So while we are alive, eh, while alive, a person should live and function to the best of his or her ability to fulfill the mission given by God. Death means the assignment for God is over. The assignment from God is over. That means death. But since a human being has an important mission given by God, in this way, people should try to keep their bodies and hearts always pure and to their best for the fulfillment of God's given missions. So, again, people should try to keep their bodies, my body, without toxins, pure, and our hearts, our spiritual body, without those spiritual clouds, always pure to their best for the fulfillment of the God-given mission. So this is why it has been said since ancient times that the human being, we human beings, we are a child of God. So a human being is a child of God, a vessel and an instrument of God, the house of God. My body is a temple of God. Yeah? So that's why we should take care of our body. So to live a life, going back to the Kanagara, to live a life of Kanagara, following the law of nature, it's not particularly difficult, as Meishu-sama says. On the contrary, it is very simple, according to Meishu-sama. To live a life of Kanagara means live in accordance with your will, with God's will. To have these, to be able to, it depends on the situation you are going through, you still continue living in accordance with God's will. You understand you have to practice faith. So, to do this, how can I live in this way? How can I live a life of Kanagara? So there are a couple of practices that I think is important. The practice of the teachings of Meishu-sama, but one practice that we should do always is pray. To pray. We have the Amatsu-Norito prayer that we pray every day, every time when we have our evening and morning services. And the Amatsu-Norito is interesting that, like I said before, the Kan Nagara comes all the way to the end. Kan Nagara Tamachi Haemase, Kan Nagara Tamachi Haemase, and then we finish it. Why is that? It comes all the way to the end. And the answer is very simple. After we pray, after we talk, and we communicate with the divine, with God, at the end, after we do our prayer request, then we leave everything in accordance with God's will. We say, well, thy will be done. That hope everything happens according to your will. That's interesting. When you take this Izunome prayer book, you can even see that we have the Amatsu-Norito translated, the meaning of the Amatsu-Norito, prayer of heaven. And it says here, Taka amahara ni kamsu marimasu, when you begin the prayer. The translation of this, it says, in the highest and holiest realm of heaven dwell the divine beings, Kamurogi and Kamuromi. Kamurogi is a male and Kamuromi is a female. Divine beings with the Izanagi no Mikoto, all those divine beings, there that we pray for creator of universe, so that we ask that they can help to dispel and purify this entire world. So we ask the divine beings to listen to our prayers together with all the divine spirits of heaven on earth. So we say all those beautiful words so that at the end we can say, Miroku o Mikami, eh? Great God of light. Miroku o Mikami, O God. Protect us and bless us with supreme happiness. And then we ask Meishu-sama, which is Oshie ni oya nushi no kami, that means Meishu-sama. Protect us and bless us with supreme happiness. Then we go for the pause and a silent prayer, asking God for protection, for blessings, and especially appreciating our lives. We thank God. But there are so many people suffering, so we ask God to protect and bless them. But at the end, Kannagara tamachi haemase, in accordance with your will, in accordance with your will, not my will, your will, radiate our souls with your divine light. Kannagara tamachi haemase, so we leave it with God's will. So this is one of the practice of prayer. Another practice that we can live in accordance with God's will is Johrei, of course. Pray Johrei. Prayer, Johrei. But channel Johrei, receive Johrei. Another practice, try to eliminate every day your ego and your attachment. Another practice, try as much as you can to control your ego, to trust in God. A person with Makoto, be honest. Don't be greedy. They're all practices. Do not tell lies. Do not judge, or don't be judgmental. Wait for the right time. Practice humility and be a pleasant person. All those that I shared with you, they are all what? Teachings of Meishu-sama. And if we practice them and we try as much as we can to put them into practice, we are living in accordance with God's will. We are practicing virtue. It is simple to understand Meishu-sama's explanation. He says, in order to a human being maintain health, when a person is born into this world, they first drink mother's milk and later begins to eat regular food. So nature provides a person with food, grains, vegetables, and animals in a countless variety of forms, shapes, flavors, tastes, appearances, and textures, all suitable for human consumption. So human beings can enjoy eating foods provided by nature, whenever and wherever needed. Living in accordance with God's will, that means kanagara. So if we follow the laws of nature, we see that God created everything perfect. If people diligently and carefully perform their tasks, their missions, and work at the occupations they have been given, if they express their gratitude, help mankind, help many people to be happy with Johrei, and if we do small practices of love for others, we all should not be suffering by illness. That's when miracles happen. When we become useful to God and humanity. That's when miracles happen. That's when Meishu-sama act. And this is the meaning of Kannagara, or live life, health in accord with the law of nature, in accord with God. With this, I'd like to thank you all very much, and I hope you all have a very great evening. Okay, thank you. See you tomorrow morning at our morning service.